All right, let's see. I wonder if that's not Greg.
That's not Greg.
Everybody I couldn't.
No.
Yeah, it's not Greg. Okay. G says, hi, can you briefly give me the straight dope on monk fruit? I heard it doesn't spike your blood glucose levels, making it a good alternative to sugar. I'm also guessing it still triggers pleasure centers in your brain, which can lead to craving sweets. My girl wanted to know, how does Monkfruit Maple Syrup differ from 100% pure maple syrup? Thank you for your time.
So I dug around a lot on this, and one, I couldn't find a Monkfruit Maple Syrup to save my life, so I'm not too sure on that. I don't know if my Google foo sucked, but this artificial sweetener, whether it's stevia or monk fruit or even, saccharin or aspartame, it's interesting because what we've found kind of clinically in folks that have historically had some dodgy eating habits, we'll say, the artificial sweeteners tend to be kind of gateway drugs towards poor eating. So the science is mixed on this. Some people, it appears that they get an insulin response. So like with stevia, one of the benefits of stevia is that it lowers blood glucose. Well, it lowers blood glucose because you release insulin, and that can get people into a hypoglycemic cycle. And so if you're kind of low carb, but you're not ketogenic, and then you take some stevia as an isolated item and it lowers your blood glucose levels, you're going to feel like shit and you're going to want to eat carbs because otherwise you're going to crater and have problems. So it's generally not a huge effect in most people, but I could argue that there is a physiological mechanism whereby folks that aren't well fat adapted, they could end up in kind of a hypoglycemic event. And then also there is a reality that from kind of a habit-based standpoint, some of these super, hyper palatable foods, like these guys make keto cookies. They're amazing. I don't know what they use for the sweetener. It may in fact be monk fruit. They are absolutely amazing. And I could eat all 10 that come in the box in one sitting. And that's not beating up on those guys. They did a great job with them, but almost too good of a job. So again,
still something that you include sparingly.
Yeah.
If you're affected by.
Yeah.
If the cravings.
If the cravings are an issue,
right.
If body fat loss is a goal,
right.
These hyper palatable foods are just easy to overeat. You end up taking all this time to, you jump on the KetoGains macro calculator, you measure everything out, you're doing great. You're like, well, I'm just going to have this keto snack or whatever. And then all of a sudden you've eaten the whole thing and you're 1,000 calories over your daily allotment. So that's my concern with this stuff. Honestly, I use some non-nutritive sweeteners. Like she makes some really good low-carb waffles for me, and I use a low-carb syrup, and it's just the standard old Mrs. Buttersworth. It's got aspartame and all kinds of other horrible things in it, probably depleted uranium.
But we do that like once a month.
I do that once a month.
So
it's not an everyday deal. But man, I tell you what, I can eat the back end out of the
That's
cap.
why we only do it once a month.
Yeah.